And
There we
Councilwoman,
go.
it's an honor to meet you. I'm here in
All right.
Austin.
Well, hey, I'm Christopher Herring. This is the Global Chamber Texas Meetup. It's so great to see so many people, great Texans who are on, and then some who are outside of Texas that were great Texans that are on. And so we're thankful that we have this chance just to be able to talk to each other, talk about our businesses, and know that Global Chamber is still the meeting place where people can uh, really just establish warm connections, grow the business, grow support for international business and trade. And so today, I'm looking at some great people with expertise that can help us. So we're going to be picking some brains in this conversation today. Um, I first want to start out with acknowledging a newly elected city. Her name is Councilwoman Summer Marie Brown. Summer served in the United States Army as an officer, and it's interesting when I gave Summer the call to help me to put together and really formulate Global Chamber San Antonio. She just had the yes, yes, yes. What do you need? And so, with spirit, Summer, you can unmute. I want you to tell us about who you are and what are you going to do for the community in which you've been elected to serve.
Well, I think you did a great job of telling everyone who I am, but officially, I am now Councilwoman Summer Marie Brown. My constituents and friends and family call me Summer Marie. Um, as a very, very, very new member on City Council, I would say I would love to and continue to put my residents first. I always make myself available to them. And the resources that they provide to our city. So, for example, one of my top priorities is being fiscally responsible and making sure that we're using our resources wisely in the city of Cibolo. Most of you may not know, but Cibolo has grown about 800% in the last 10 years. So we are just busting at the seams at this point. There's lots of road construction, lots of developments, and things like that. And usually that makes for a very upset city. So I joined the city council team because I would like to help control that growth and ensure that the infrastructure is moving along with it. So I hear consistently from my community about the roads and the infrastructure and the quality of life issues and a lot of those concerns. I mean, I'm a resident too, so they matter to me as well. Um, and
What does
so
what does the business profile look like for Cipolo? Like, do you have some companies in which people would recognize that you're going to be leaning on to be supportive of economic development growth and so forth?
Yeah, actually, we're a growing city, so we're just now getting a lot of we have Walmart a couple years ago. Now, big HEB has moved in. We're getting ready to get a Sprouts, a Max and Louis, and we're as far as businesses, we are really growing our business footprint here. Is if you look at the city of Cibolo, the way that we're kind of situated is really weird. We're kind of weaved in there with shirts somehow. Some decisions that were made long before me. It just makes our footprint look really weird, but we're working to the best of our ability to bring those businesses in, and we welcome new businesses. We
Well,
welcome them.
well,
Um,
I think the important part is because we also have Fernando, who is in Austin, Texas, and when we're looking at the 30 corridor, basically going from San Antonio to Austin, we can see that this is a area that the population uh, uh, and growth of the two major cities, and then the smaller cities is this is phenomenal. So we have a good problem, I think. I don't know, Fernando.
mhm.
You can jump into our conversation. What do you do, Fernando?
So I'm a marketing consultant starting a marketing agency focused on category design and virtual summits as a way of boosting visibility and generating explosive growth in your company. Um,
Mm.
Okay.
I do travel back and forth between Austin and San Antonio all the time, And I see here on the map that Cibolo is in that corridor. It's right next to Shirts, right next to
Right. Mhm.
Santa Clara and Cypress Point, and then right before you get to New Braunfels, if you're going from San Antonio to Austin, and I could definitely see you have an opportunity to position yourselves with a lot of the Mexican tourists who would normally kind of just drive through and go straight to the outlets in San Marcos, you know, opportunity to stop and do business in Cibolo somehow, maybe some, I don't know, maybe some developments in the future to help attract some of those shoppers.
We would
You
love it
know,
as long as it kind
I'm
of
going to ask
aligns with
Peter.
our small town feel, man. Hey, we welcome it.
Hey, I'm going to have Peter Greybig. Some of you may remember Peter at some of the board meetings when we had over at the Netio Plaza. But Peter was very instrumental in the city of San Antonio. And when we talk about the growth of this region, I credit Peter Greybig with really having a lot to do with that because not only did he was able to forecast and show us the data that went along with would create companies to come to San Antonio or for businesses to be able to scale up. Um, he was just a wealth of knowledge. So, Peter, you can jump in. You can tell us more probably about our regions and what we can tell us about our regions.
Chris, thank you very much, and it's great to see you again. It's been too long since we've last caught up. So yes, I'm actually I grew up in San Antonio. I'm from San Antonio. I've been fortunate enough to have an international career spanning every continent except for Australia and Antarctica. And I've recently, over the last few years, I've been up here in Washington, D.C., primarily working in trade and project finance, spending a lot of time focused on Africa, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe, which has been the bulk of my travels over the last few years. Um, so while I was in Texas, I worked in export promotion with several kind of the infrastructure of federal and state entities. I was officing out of the University of Texas at San Antonio in downtown San Antonio. And, it was a great time. I really enjoyed working with the firms and in helping them, go out and conquer international markets. And we had a lot of successes. I often, anecdotally, I kind of describe it as I got to work with, these great entrepreneurs. I used to say many of them have been in their fields longer than I've been alive, which is becoming less and less true as time rolls on. But, all of these entrepreneurs really, really did a lot. And I kind of contrast it. I work with a lot of lawyers today. So I used to feel like I was out there working with all these entrepreneurs that were go-getters. Currently, I'm trying to keep lawyers from spinning in place. So,
Mm.
I don't know if that's an experience that others share. But in any case, it is a pleasure to always engage with my fellow Texans. I'm usually just down there for Thanksgiving recently. But it's great to see everyone, see that everyone's doing well, and I'm always happy to contribute with any knowledge towards positive outcomes for the city and the community. So thank you, everyone. It's
So, so I do have a question. So, and you pay attention to Texas because Texas, if they when Texas makes changes, it changes a nation. So we've seen various initiatives in our state where we no longer have the historically underutilized business programs that supported minority and women businesses. I haven't been on in a while, so I know this may be old news for some, but it may be new news for others. Um, Peter, did you see when you were here in San Antonio, did you see why we had such programs and what the need was to help businesses to scale and to be able to have, a piece of the pie, so to speak?
Sure. So, as someone that is focused on the financial aspects of ramping up businesses with a lot of historically underutilized businesses, so two ways that I'll answer this question. One of them is where have we seen successes? We have seen tremendous successes in historically underutilized businesses and primarily entrepreneurs. coming from various types of historically underutilized communities, creating tremendous wealth and creating tremendous success. I remember one metric that I heard once, a long time ago, was that the average wealth of an entrepreneur from any minority class was about 60 times, 60, the average wealth of non-entrepreneurs coming from various communities. The other side of it is in terms of what allows and what permits historically underutilized businesses to reach success. So in the early stages, a lot of communities that are not historically underutilized or don't have histories of marginalization have ways of, I think almost the best way of saying, of scraping together capital for early stage startup. They'll often have, family resources, broader networks, historical communities with higher access to education. And so it becomes easier to start in the entrepreneurial phase from that aspect. And then obviously as institutions ramp up and as they start to seek more institutional level, as these small businesses start to seek more institutional levels of capital, having programs that help facilitate and help to even underwrite, like SBA does a lot of these loans that will kind of underwrite entities that may otherwise have difficulty demonstrating creditworthiness, demonstrating 3 years financials, things along those lines. These types of ramps do have an effect, and I think the main thing is tying that bridge between these early stages that provide access to capital and access for entrepreneurs to go out and do what they do, and the latter stages where you have people from all communities, frankly, that create wealth and enjoy wealth for themselves, their families, and their communities, which the entrepreneur route is that is where we see the most results over time. So,
Thank you. Oh, that's good. Councilwoman Brown. So a part of your journey, I would suppose, is that you are the champion for your small business community. And so have you gone through your orientation with the city to kind of understand where you're going to play, or are you still shaping your next few days and your seat?
Yeah, so I had my first council meeting the day of that I took my oath, and I am ever since then I have been jam packed. So I'm still trying to figure it out. Like in the military, when you take your first command, you wait that 90 days and you observe, and so that's where I'm at right now. I was sworn in on the 13th, and so now I'm in that that window of observing, finding where I fit.
Very nice. Hey, let me segue. David, I see you. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Can you tell us who you are? Tell us a little about yourself. I haven't had the pleasure of being able to be introduced to you. So, I'm Chris. I'm the president of Global Chamber San Antonio here in San Antonio, Texas. And I've been helping to steer the Texas Global Chamber Texas steering group for a while. And so good to meet you.
Well, my name is David Hyun, Hyun. I'm in California. I'm in a suburb of Pasadena, California, called Arcadia, California, 10 miles east of Pasadena. I'm an architect by training.
Mm.
I graduated from USC School of Architecture with a bachelor's degree, and then I went on to MIT. I graduated with a master's degree from MIT. After working in the real world, I came across some contractors that told me that I was very stupid. And I said, "How dare you call a MIT architect stupid?"
Wow.
And they said, "Well, David, do you know how to design a project to a budget? Do you know how to do a construction budget?" I said, "No, I was never taught that." "Ergo, David, you're stupid. Do you know how to do a project to a construction development schedule?" "No, I've never been taught that either." "Ergo, David, you're stupid." So I thought about it, and I really couldn't argue against that because I knew a lot of designs ended up in the trash can. I also knew that a lot of projects had major cost overruns. So I went to Hawaii, worked as director of design and planning for Kapalua, a major resort, 550 acres. After working 80 hours a week for a year and a half, I decided to go back to school, got a full Bank of America scholarship at USC Marshall School of Business, graduated a year and a half later with an MBA degree. I became a financial architect. With that background, I helped my father design and develop Japanese Village Plaza, 89,000 net rentable square feet on 2.4 acres. Eventually, that project, which we built for $5 million, was sold for a lot more than $5 million 10 years later. It made a whole bunch of people very wealthy. So as a financial architect, compared to Frank Lloyd Wright, who taught the dictum, form follows function, I studied the art of form follows finance. You put the two together, you get the romance of real estate. Real estate, if it's properly designed and properly structured financial, will make a lot of money for a whole bunch of people. And it creates what I refer to symbolically as the romance of real estate. Now, about a year ago, I visited Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas is a dynamic, thriving city. And a lot of money is going to flow in the city. And someday, Councilwoman Summer Marie Brown is going to have the opportunity to coordinate some major development projects. And she's going to say, gentlemen, I need to see the design of the project, and I also need to see the financial strategy and structure of the project so I know that we will have a project 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now that will thrive and that will bring people into the shopping center or the development and create jobs, economic opportunity, prosperity, and make a whole bunch of investors successful. Now, if she says that and she said, ring, ring, David, I've got a deal that you need to invest in, I'm jumping on an airplane. I'm going to fly down to Houston, Texas, and if I've got the nickels and dimes, I have no problem investing in Houston. Now, there is this wonderful church that got restructured and located in the Compact Center, okay? I listened to that charismatic preacher talk about having the correct attitude to win, never to be afraid, to have the courage to be community oriented. Well, you guys got a lot of crazy people down there that are very, very optimistic with the right attitude. Now we have, because I believe in working with leaders, I also believe that our world is composed of simply two groups of people. One large group of people, 80% of the world's population, we would like to most likely define as losers, or let's call it wimps. Now we have another smaller group of people called winners. Now, I hope I'm not offending anybody, but winners comprise about 10 to 20% of the world's population, and they get things done. Now, this councilwoman, Summer Marie Brown, she's not a loser. She's a winner. She's tough as nails, right? Okay. So, Peter, what I've found out in business, I have a CCIM certification. I have learned, my passion is real estate, but real estate is to be successful, it's community oriented. It deals with the community. And so what I've learned, and I'll share with you what I believe are the successful values and principles of leadership. And every one of you listening to me today have, I believe, the 5 qualities. I know that Christopher does. He's got that attitude. I can tell by his presentation as I talk to him and his smile. He's got 5 qualities. Let's go over to the 5 qualities. They all begin with the letter C. They all are on the 5 fingers of your right hand. The first quality that Christopher has is courage. Is that correct, Christopher?
That's correct. That's I think so. Yeah. Thank you.
Summer, do you have courage?
I absolutely do.
Okay, the second quality to be successful in business and in your community as a councilwoman, you have to have character or integrity. That means no nonsense, no lying, no cheating, no stealing, no nothing like that. You have character and integrity. Correct, Fernando?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, Fernando is quiet right now. Okay,
Absolutely.
the third quality of a leader begins with the letter C. The middle finger is commitment to get the job done from start to finish with no excuses. Do you agree with that, Christopher?
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay. The fourth quality of leadership is capital management skills to know how to manage the finances of your own self, the project, so that all of the income exceeds the expenses, so that you always have a cash flowing, profitable project. Don't you agree with that, Summer?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Especially when it's
the fifth
money.
quality I know everyone's going to agree with. The fifth, the little pinky, begins with the letter C. It stands for a caring attitude for your global chamber colleagues, a caring attitude for your clients, a caring attitude for your community in Houston, a caring attitude for the state of Texas. I love Texas, by the way. If you tell me that you're going to prepare a Texas barbecue beef rib meal with all the trimmings, I'm going to jump on an airplane and I'll see you in 24 hours. I think Texans have the greatest cooking, bar none. The biggest problem is do not tell the Chinese people about Texas cooking. Otherwise, half of mainland China is going to move to Texas. They love Texas cooking. The fifth quality is a caring attitude for your country. And I am someone who believes that you have to have a caring attitude for your country. No fighting, no arguing, learn how to work together, learn how to build each other up, and learn how to share and create a great civilization. Let's call it a great civilization. So if you have all five qualities, Christopher, Councilwoman Marie Brown, Peter Gravick, and Fernando Labatista will deliver the knockout punch to win every time on a major project. That's
That's
my
right.
presentation.
Well, that's a wonderful presentation. I didn't know, Doug, that we were going to have a leadership guru on today's meetup. You didn't tell me that. And so thank you, David. Wonderful. I think that when we look at those five characteristics that you spoke of, those so important, so important. And I find that even myself, as we're going through this journey of change. Now, I'm going to preface it by saying all change isn't bad. Change is, it happens, and hopefully people will embrace change. But I always say that, leader needs to be a servant leader, a caring leader, someone who can hopefully walk the walk and not just talk the talk. So,
Well,
thank you, David. That was wonderful.
Christopher, let me tell you something. I've invested in real estate and made money in the millions of dollars for my clients and investors. My
Hmm.
biggest return is investing in leaders, people that will embrace the five qualities, and I've seen them grow and become heroes to their family, to their community, and to their company. When I invest in leaders like you and like Doug Brunke and Ellen Sue out of Victoria, Canada, I have no problem in investing or sharing what I've learned to Councilwoman Summer Marie Brown so that when she speaks, the whole room will shake. Everyone will listen to her and they will say, Amen, Summer, let's get it done.
That's right.
And they do.
So I happen to be an extrovert, okay? That's someone who likes to get things done. So it's
Well,
an honor to attend. I just recently joined Global Chamber. They sent me an
okay.
invitation. I decided to because I think when I visited Houston to go to a CCM conference, Uh, what is the name of that preacher?
Joel Osteen.
Joel Osteen. I wanted so badly to go to his church and just hear him give a sermon. I was so compressed with time that I couldn't go, but I admire Joel Osteen's attitude because he talks about a positive attitude. He talks about taking care of the community, your church members. He is explaining in plain English the real meaning. This is my opinion, by the way, just my personal opinion of what it's called applied Christianity.
Mm,
Applied Christianity is not talking about it, it's just doing it. It's
right.
serving your community, serving your neighbor. Because in the New Testament, in the one of the major books in the New Testament, when everybody approached Christ, they said, "Knock, knock, I'd like to enter the kingdom." He says, "Well, I never knew you." And he said, "Well, what do you mean? I went to church, I tithe, I did everything." He said, "Well, when I was hungry, you never fed me. When I
Oh,
was in prison, you never visited me. When I was naked, you never clothed me, because you didn't do it unto me. You never did unto them. You never did it unto me." You see, real life is applying basic fundamental principles of serving other people. Like Doug Brunke is my brother. Councilman
uh,
Summer Brown is my sister.
And
Christopher
why are
Herring is
they
my
why are
brother.
they doing that to ICE? Why is ICE
Thank you.
killing
Thank you
people?
very much. Appreciate it. Christopher Herring is my brother too. So Christopher, thank you for recognizing the leadership that David has. His leadership with the Japanese Village Plaza, getting that built 50 years ago in city of Los Angeles, resurrected what was uh, a terrible place, a place that had so much potential, but that needed someone to step forward and create something. What you, Summer, are doing in your city, and Christopher, what you've been doing, and what all of us do, just recognize that the world is complicated, and to get things done, we need to take extraordinary efforts. And so, Christopher, thank you for doing that with the San Antonio Global Chamber. And thank you for hosting this event today. Really appreciate you.
oh, thank you, Doug. So across the state, we see that there's so many different things happening to us socially, politically, seeing the inflation in the marketplace, whereby we're paying more now for basic things like groceries. Um, and I think people, especially in the business community, there because of the changes that we've had now in Texas with the historically underutilized businesses that no longer necessarily have the assurance that they're going to be used in the future. Um, it really comes down to now what I would say is really where a global village becomes quintessentially important. It will require, and I remember, Doug, when we were in COVID, um, we were probably the only chamber in the world that created a COVID-19 action plan that had basically taken the best of our businesses that, around the world. And we asked the question, what resources does your business have that could help to be mobilized into regions in which we're in need of masks, in need of medical equipment, and so through the architecture of our global chamber website, Doug posted uh, companies that said that we could support. And we became, and I did the analytics on the website at some point, and I saw that was probably the most utilized page that people were using that were outside of Global Chamber, within Global Chamber, to be able to get some of the things in which they needed. And so I think today, when I'm looking at how at least America, I know, is rewriting the books on how we're going to use businesses that are small businesses, I think it becomes even more important because we say over and over and over again that America is about 5 to 6% of the world population, but the 94% of the world still needs to be unified and to be able to have a source of doing business with. And that's the opportunity. So we can't isolate ourselves to just, America, because if we just isolate ourselves, then we're going to starve our businesses that really could be selling the various product services that people do need around the world. And I'm seeing markets that are just exploding. And America has to be a part of that. It's no doubt we can't isolate. We have to be a part of that. If we're not a part of it, Fernando, we'll be left behind. And then we'll try to figure out, well, why do we get left behind? It's because we failed to be a part of the global community. And so that's my 2 cents worth. I see Terry Levine, is it Honorary? Can you come on? I think I saw you earlier. Are you the chef that Doug was talking to?
Yes, I'm the chef.
All right, come on. Tell us who you are and where are you located?
Yes, so I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm mostly a
Hold on,
service.
hold on. The Queen City, Charlotte?
Yes, the Queen City.
Yeah, I have family there in Charlotte. My wife and I were just there maybe a week and a half ago.
Oh, nice. What part
Yeah,
of Charlotte?
uptown Charlotte. Yes.
Yes, everywhere in the US they say downtown, but in Charlotte we say uptown.
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah,
so most people think that the downtown is where everything is happening. In Charlotte, they don't really have a downtown. They call their downtown the uptown.
yes, yes. It's a
So that's a
misnomer. I
paradigm
don't know
shift.
why. I think
Councilwoman Brown, maybe in Cibolo you want to have the uptown Cibolo, which you know you can kind of brand it. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Tell us
yeah.
about who you are again and what you're doing in Charlotte.
Yeah, so I'm a new member of Global Chambers. I joined in December, so I'm trying to attend as much meeting as possible so I can narrow which one really fits my long-term goal with the chambers. So I'm mostly a service provider, but I'm a cross-border service provider. I used to work for the big four accounting firms before opening my own boutique tax advisory practice, which is geared towards international tax. So in my practice, I help US individuals and US businesses that are expanding overseas with any of their tax needs. I help them structure their deal. I help them optimize their taxes. I help them prepare their tax return as well. If
Mm,
anything with the IRS, I also help them in the course of that. So I do that for US businesses that are going overseas or US individuals that are becoming experts. And then on the other sides, on the flip side, I help foreign investors who are moving into the US market to get part of the markets. So I help them with the choice of entities, structuring their business, optimizing their taxes, and then filing their tax return. I do that for individuals and businesses. For individual, so far it's mostly people who are buying real estate in the US, right? A lot of people are coming here to buy real estate. Some of them they buy it in their individual names, and sometimes some of them when they come with more complex structure, like maybe they want to buy the property by creating a trust, maybe in South Dakota and all the rest. So I assist them in structuring the deal, providing them with the right choice of entity, and so that they can minimize the tax liability or tax exposure in the US. So in a nutshell, that's
that's
how I
beautiful.
assist. So I'm part of this. I'm interested in meeting business owners, investors, any person who is into cross-border transaction to let them know, because also in cross-border transaction, there are other credits. That's something which is very good to mention, especially for people who are manufacturing goods in the US and selling it overseas. There's some credit under the tax code to which they can take advantage of that. And they might not know because maybe they're just a small firm trying to expand overseas they cannot afford the big four accounting firms due to the high fees. Yeah, I
Right.
can accompany them with all of that. Those are the things which I used to do when I was in the big four.
I want you all to put in the chat your contact information because we need more experts. So your service that you're doing is wonderful. I know that people sometimes in business they don't know necessarily if it's better for them to buy property in their name or if they should put their properties in an LLC or other types of legal structures. What are some of your tips that you give business owners who may have a net worth of say $500,000 and up and um, and want to be able to provide a legacy to their families? What would you advise? And I know I have two real estate experts, so I'm gonna give you both a crack at it.
So if they are foreigners moving into the US, correct? I
Okay.
will most likely simplify it by maybe advising them going to go with a trust. Because in that case, they are going to avoid estate tax, which is 40%. There's an exclusion for 60% of 60,000 when you are not a US citizen or US green card holder, right? So if let's say you have a property of 500,000, now you pass away, your kids have to inherit, they will exclude just 60,000 of it, and then the rest will be subject to 40% if you buy it in your individual name. Whereas with an LLC, you'll be able to avoid that. So just on the surface level, those are the type of things which I will advise you. And also it depends on your long-term goal, what you plan on doing with the property. Sometimes, in some cases, it will be preferable for you to buy it with a corporation in a foreign country, which has a tax treaty with the US. So we can take advantage of the reduced tax rates that might be
Hmm.
applicable for you. Yeah.
Beautiful. David,
So
did you
those are
want to
the
get? Yeah, that's a wonderful answer. And I know David had mentioned about real estate. So, David, do you have an opinion on that or thought?
Well, real estate is a wonderful asset uh, if it functions to serve the community, if it serves to serve the investors. It's not all real estate meets all of the necessary values for it to be a successful project.
Hmm.
Sometimes people scrimp on investing in a piece of real estate so that it can serve the community and it can serve the tenants and can serve the investors by being profitable. Many developers will scrimp and eliminate costs that would add value to the project, add value to the tenants. One of the things I discovered in real estate, successful real estate, is that you have to serve the tenants of the project. If you don't, you're going to lose them. Now, I'll give you an example. In Pasadena, California, in 2017, I saw a duplex that I was asked to sell for a broker, and he said, I haven't been able to sell it. Would you like to find a buyer for this duplex in Pasadena? It's well located. And I eventually, after presenting it to five of my clients, that was listed for 800,000. I said, listen, I'll tell you what, I'll do you a favor. Five of my clients have turned it down. I want to take my retirement funds and buy it, but I'm not going to buy it at the price you quoted. I'm willing to buy it at the appraised value of the property by a MAI appraiser. The value is that you get to choose any MAI certified appraiser that you select, and I'll pay for the cost of the appraisal. If the value comes in too low, you don't have to sell. If the value comes in too high, I don't have to buy. So they accepted my offer.
Hmm.
Because the parents passed away. They gave the property to their two children, a mother, a son, and a daughter. The daughter died, and the son, who 57 years of age, just wanted to sell it. They didn't want to fix it. They had torn the garage down to make it available for parking. I bought the property for 45,000 below the appraised value or the listing price. One of the things that I did was when the tenants moved in, every year I took the tenants to a very famous Chinese restaurant called the Panda Inn, a part of the Panda Express group. And we got there. I said, "Listen, I'm going to treat you because you're my tenants to a free lunch. We're going to go to the buffet from 11 to 3." So the husband, the wife, and the three children came. I paid for the full bill. And guess what happened? The tenants shocked me because instead of paying the rent on the first of the month, they paid their rent 7 days early on the 21st of the month. I was shocked.
Mm.
But I took such good care of them that they thought of me not as a landlord, but as a sort of like an immediate family member taking care of them. When they called me one day and said, "David, we have a major problem. Our whole kitchen is flooded with ants." I said, "I'll be right over." I brought a pest control inspector, and in 2.5 hours from 8 o'clock when the call came in, I was there at 10 and a half, 10:30, and I said, "I'm here to look at the major problem that you're jumping up and down about. Where are the ants?" They said, "Well, my wife got so excited she cleaned off all the ants in the kitchen." And I said, "Well, let's take a look." So there was one ant left. And I said, "You want me to address this one ant?" They said, "Yes." I said, "Okay." I turned to the pest control guy. I said, "How much does it cost to remediate this whole 2 bedroom, one bath home with non-toxic pest control?" $1,500. I said, "You're on. Will you do it today?" "Yes." So the front unit, the back unit, I paid $3,000 in pest control services the same day. That is what is called outstanding property management services by an owner. I was the owner. Eventually, 2.5 years later, I sold the property for 1.2 million. I bought it for 745. I made 400. I made approximately 400,000 on the transaction because I took care of the clients and treated them like family. That's what happens when you're a councilwoman. Just tell the property owners in apartment owners
Similar.
in Houston, Texas, to treat their tenants like family. If they do that, they're going to find out that their tenants are going to reciprocate and treat their landlords like family. That's the way it should
Right.
be. We're one
That's the
big
way it should be.
family.
Yeah,
None of this
that's the way it should
nonsense
be.
about this and that. Let's stop fighting. Let's make this world a better place. That's my theory. That's my strategy. Let's make this world a better place, even if it's a small increment. Honor, you're a leader.
That's it.
And I
That's
know
it.
that
Thank
you're going
you.
to take good care of the people in North Carolina. So,
That's it.
Definitely.
That's
I
wonderful.
serve I serve not only North Carolina, but the whole US and even the rest
Oh,
of the world because I have clients
okay.
from all over the world, from all over the
Okay.
US, all over the world. Yeah.
Well, you're more than welcome to come to Texas and see what we have to offer. I know that's why you're on the meetup today. I did want to go to Fernando just so I can have him to have a little bit of time to tell us, what type of marketing do you specialize in, and how do we best utilize your services?
Yes, so I started off in sales and then transitioned to marketing in 2007 with the whole blog explosion. Blogging actually really kind of began in 2004, 2005, but when WordPress came out and made it so easy to start your own blog, and I just kind of took to it like a duck to water because my first major in college was journalism, and I joined the University of Texas newspaper, the Daily Texan, which, as you probably know, is almost city quality newspaper, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And then I changed majors halfway through to do Latin American studies. Got a degree in Latin American studies with a concentration in Mexican history, and then I got a master's degree at the University of California, Davis. in cultural geography. So what does a guy with a cultural geography degree do being in marketing? A good question. Content was what I was all about. Content marketing, providing valuable educational information for free as a way of previewing your services, right? So not really
Right.
providing commercial content, but content that provides value, that provides some kind of utility, that gives away maybe some intellectual property that you have, as a way of kind of like providing the honey, but not in a cynical way of marketing, but really in a very servant based way of doing marketing, right? So I started doing that, and I started doing it specifically to help Latin American outsourcing companies enter the U.S. market. Because what I saw was there was an explosion of nearshore outsourcing firms that provided software development services and IT management to U.S. companies, but they all were kind of following the same playbook. They were being very generic. They all sounded the same. They had the same speech, if you will. And so I thought that, if my hypothesis was if I could help them with their content marketing, and if I could help them distinguish themselves by choosing a niche market and a specific focus, then they could do that. And I was very successful working with companies from Argentina and Mexico and other parts of the world. Well, now with AI, I've also taken to AI. I'm an AI positive person. I've been utilizing AI to sort of amplify the founder's voice through podcast interviews, through videos that I film with them, and then I take the transcripts and turn that into a cascade of content. Obviously, you have to be very careful with AI
Right.
because AI slop is dominating, right? AI slop is all over the place, and you can kind of tell that telltale language of AI that somebody used AI to write something. It's like you got to be very careful. You got to customize and train your ChatGPT projects or your Claude projects or your Gemini diamonds or whatever they call it. And now what I'm doing is I'm adding to that and really helping companies to design their own categories. So I don't know if are you familiar at all with category design? And Christopher, Councilwoman Summer Marie, Honor David.
I think we're saying no.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
category design is essentially creating a brand new business category in which you can be the dominant player in a category. And these are usually kind of niche categories. A famous example would be um, HubSpot, which is a marketing software which invented the category of inbound marketing. So maybe you've heard of inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is an established business category now, but it was actually invented by the founders of a software company, HubSpot, as a way of selling their software. But now it's sort of like a open source, you know, free to
Hmm.
use by anybody, right? Similar thing for Gainsight. They invented the customer success category. And you see a lot of that in the software and the technology industry. Dude Wipes is another company that did something very similar. Dude Wipes is basically wipes for adult men, but they kind of invented this subcategory of wipes specifically for men, right? And so I'm very bullish on the strategy because I think it's like kind of like
I
the
love
last
that.
business and marketing strategy so that companies can really differentiate themselves. And then leveraging what I call virtual summits, which are 2 to 5 day, virtual summits where you recruit from anywhere from 14 to 20 speakers that speak on a variety of topics as a way of kind of exploding your category out into the stratosphere. And so I actually
Uh,
go ahead.
no, that's real good.
Yeah.
That's look, you're giving us $1 million of information as we're closing our meetup. So I'm
And
understanding.
The Global Chamber was actually a partner with me on my last summit, the Strike Marketing Summit, which I had December 11th through 12th. They were a sponsor. They helped to promote it. And I can actually share the YouTube playlist of all the 14 talks that were given from 14 thought leaders and marketing experts.
But since you own the category, if I go to YouTube and I put in strike
Marketing Summit, Strike
strike,
Marketing Summit.
okay, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that today because um, I think it's important. Many of our businesses, sometimes we are competitive and we're trying to compete within categories in which we know. But to create the category, like even like when guerrilla marketing, I remember guerrilla marketing was a new novel thing back in the day, uh, but I guess that was a new category that was created back in the day, and then people
Like
kind of
Raycon
fell
and
into it.
Levinson. Yeah.
How about TQ management?
TQ management.
Yeah, that was total quality. The military fell into that
Sure.
back in the day, where if you were going to do something, it had to be done in a total quality process manner. There's a number of different ways that I'm looking at this, but I think that you made me today $1 million because I'm very creative. I would like to explore, Fernando, to maybe to look at creating some form of a summit for Texas. And since we know that, as I started out by saying, we've lost some things within how we do business in the state of Texas, meaning historically underutilized businesses are no longer the path to making contracts happen.
Yeah.
But we can create a whole new category, and we can put together a business structure that supports what that newness may be, and I believe that will be very successful because we got
Yeah.
David, who has encouraged us to be leaders. We know that we can put together um, the infrastructure because we have honorary. I mean, so we know we're good, and we have a councilwoman who can help to provide us with the political cover. Hey, I'm encouraged, Fernando. Thank you so much.
I would love to meet with you and Councilwoman Summer Marie and whoever else at Harmon's Barbecue in Cibolo, Texas.
Man, that's the right way to end the show. And you know what? I think that the councilwoman would definitely treat us because she's that type of woman. I love the idea. Come on down to
All right.
Cibolo, and we can meet there for sure at Harmon's. And Harmon's has the best barbecue. I was just there maybe my wife maybe about 3 weeks ago with Cedric Edwards, who did a whole great financial presentation while we were there eating that great barbecue. And you're right, Texas does have the best barbecue outside of North Carolina. North Carolina has a different barbecue. North Carolina barbecue is pork based. Texas barbecue is
Beef.
beef based, and so it really depends on what you like. But my family's from North Carolina, so I'm always going to be partial to the Tar Heel state. But I am in Texas, and everything is good here.
Hook 'em
All right,
horns.
that's it. Well, look, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you all for coming on to Global Chambers Meetup, and
Nice
we
to meet
made
everybody.
yeah we made good friends today. More
Yeah.
importantly, right?
I, I tried to copy everyone's contact information. I was waiting on David. David, you're going to provide your contact information. Thank you so much.
There's my email address. I'm going to include my phone number.
I love to keep in touch. I love to continue to network.
Yeah. Hi, Donna Smiley.
I want to say thank you for allowing me to participate in this Global Chamber Houston, Texas event. I want to say one thing that I've learned in business that I think Fernando will be very excited about. As business purpose and leaders, we underestimate the impact we can have on getting things done. I have what is called the 10 times rule. If you just took whatever you think you can accomplish and you multiply it by 10, that's your real target. You can do 10 times more work than you think you can do. That's what I've discovered. So go get them.
All right.
Change the world.
Guys.
Make this world a better place down there in Texas. When you
Sure
have that,
will.
give me a week's notice, and I'm probably going to fly down there because I love cooking. I love barbecue cooking. I love Texas. I think Texans have the best cooking on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Well, we did have a great influx of California people coming to Texas, so You're not lying, David. You're not lying. All right. Well, we're gonna get off here because I know this link may be used for another Globinar. But thank you so much for joining us. Y'all be
Yeah.
blessed. Have a great one. And
Nice meeting you all. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely done. Okay, bye-bye.